The wind had already died when rancher Cole Thorne stepped out onto his porch that cold autumn night, the lantern in his hand flickering against the vast emptiness of the prairie. But the silence felt wrong, too still, too expectant, until he heard it, the faint crunch of footsteps far too light to belong to a grown man. Cole froze, hand dropping instinctively toward the revolver at his hip, but what emerged from the shadows was not a threat, not a drifter, not a thief. It was a child, no older than 9 or 10, coat ripped, hair tangled by the wild, eyes wide with a mixture of exhaustion and terror. The kid stumbled toward the porch steps and whispered, voice cracking like dry wood, "Sir, can we stay till sunrise?" For a moment Cole thought the boy was speaking to him alone, but then he noticed the small bundle of fabric behind him, another child, younger, barely able to stand, shivering in the cold. Cole's jaw tightened. He'd seen plenty of orphans, plenty of runaways, plenty of souls the frontier had swallowed whole. But something about these two wasn't just desperate, it was hunted. "Who's we?" Cole asked, even though he already knew. The older boy pushed the younger one forward just enough to show his face. "Me and my little brother. We walked a long way, sir. We can leave after sunrise, but please don't make us go back into the dark." Cole scanned the horizon. The moon showed nothing but empty fields, but the boy's voice trembled with truth. He opened the door, guiding them inside with a wary caution carved over decades of ranching alone. The warmth of the hearth washed over them, and for a moment the older boy finally breathed. Cole poured warm water, tore bread from a loaf, and kept his questions quiet until they finished eating. Only then did the story tumble out. They weren't runaways. They had escaped. Their guardian, a man who took them in after their parents died, had turned cruel, drinking himself into fits of rage. Tonight he'd broken a lamp, screamed they were cursed burdens, and in the chaos the older brother took the younger's hand and fled into the night. "He'll come for us," the child whispered. "He always finds us." Cole sat back, the fire reflecting in his eyes. He had never wanted children, never thought his home, quiet, lonely, hardened by loss, had space for youth or fear or hope. But he also knew the kind of men who hid cruelty behind the excuse of hardship. He'd known one too well, his own father. Outside, a distant horse cried in the night wind, and the smaller child flinched violently. Cole rose, closed every window, latched every door, and set his rifle by the table. "You're safe here," he said, voice rough but steady, "until sunrise, and longer if needed." The boys curled near the fire, but Cole didn't sleep. His instincts screamed that someone, or something, was coming. When the first howl carried across the plains, he realized this night was far from over. The dark was not empty, the children were not alone, and sunrise was still many hours away. Cole kept watch by the window as the night deepened, the ranch lit only by the fire's glow and a single jittering lantern, but the tension in the walls felt alive, coiled like the memory of something terrible stalking just beyond the reach of light. The older boy drifted into restless sleep, though the younger clung to Cole's coat like a frightened pup, trembling every time the wind brushed the house. Around midnight, hooves thundered across the plain, hard, angry, uneven, and Cole stiffened. A large shape emerged from the darkness, lurching left, then right, as if the rider was drunk or barely conscious, and Cole recognized the silhouette of a man gripping a horse that didn't want to carry him. When the stranger shouted the boys' names, the younger child whimpered and hid behind Cole's leg. The rancher stepped outside, rifle raised, boots heavy against the porch floorboards. "They ain't here," Cole lied, but the man laughed a harsh cracked sound. "Them boys belong to me," he slurred. "Ain't nobody taking what's mine." Cole's voice hardened. "Children aren't property." The man snarled, slid off his horse, and staggered toward the steps, reaching for Cole's collar. But before he touched him, the older boy burst out of the door, shouting, "Leave him alone!" The man turned, fury twisting his face, and for a moment Cole saw everything the children had endured. The fear, the violence, the pain. Cole stepped between them. "You've had too much to drink," he warned. "Go home. Come back sober if you truly care for them." But the man didn't listen. Instead, he lunged, and Cole swung the butt of his rifle, dropping him into the dust. After a long silence, the child whispered, "He won't stop." Cole looked at the unconscious man, then at the stars, the horizon, the trembling brothers. He thought about all the nights he had spent alone after losing his family, all the days he avoided company because it reminded him of what he no longer had. And for the first time in years, he felt something shift inside him, a pull toward purpose, toward responsibility, toward redemption. "Boys," he said quietly, "sunrise don't change anything unless you choose to change with it." The older one hesitated. "What does that mean?" Cole knelt so his eyes met theirs. "It means you don't have to run anymore. If you want, you can stay, not just till sunrise, longer." The smaller child hugged him with surprising strength, burying his face in Cole's chest. The older boy blinked hard, holding back tears. "You'd really keep us safe?" Cole nodded. "I ain't perfect, but I won't ever raise a hand to you, and I won't let anyone else do it either." When sunrise finally rolled across the plains, bathing the ranch in gold, the boys stood beside Cole on the porch. For the first time, they weren't shaking. They weren't afraid. They weren't alone. Their lives had already changed, and so had his. And from that day on, whenever someone asked why two orphaned brothers ended up with a quiet, rugged rancher in the middle of nowhere, the older boy would smile and say, "Because one night we asked if we could stay till sunrise, and he gave us a lifetime instead."